The stage is set. The bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 73, and we are back. After my sabbatical, we are back. So apologies, 2 weeks away.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Mondays I was going home and crying on my pillow.
I was talking to Mexicans going, I think he's going to win. He's going to win. He's going to, senor, no English. I'm like, it doesn't matter, yeah. So I'm joined as always by Robert Palin.
How's it going, man?
And I'm Noel O'Keefe, and welcome along, as I said, to Obviously Fight Talk episode 73. So we got to give a shout out to our sponsors. We're brought to you as always by Fight Star Ireland, the fighter's choice, everything you need under one roof. Be it groin guards, shin pads, they look after everybody. They look after Conor McGregor, all his boxing gear. McGregor. MMA Mix for all your MMA needs. Check them out. They're obviously good because they're with Obviously Fight Talk. And this is where you think I'm finished with the sponsor calls.
You think so?
I'm not finished. We would like to welcome to the Obviously Fight Talk family, feelsupreme.co.uk. So Feel Supreme, it's a website. It's where you get all your CBD oil and many organic and natural supplements and whole foods. Check them out. They're completely natural, 100% natural, with no hidden chemicals and no animal products used. Feel Supreme work with domestic champions, world champions, amateur athletes, and even the average person like me. I'm not average. Some of the most popular products within the MMA community are the CBD oil sport for recovery and for immune support. Other things like cordyceps, don't know what that is, to help optimize oxygen utilization. The Chinese Olympic team, Rob, they broke 5 world records using all this.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So again, check out
it's pretty good.
www.feelsupreme.co.uk. And folks, here's the kicker. If you use the code FIGHTTALK, that's us, Fight Talk, you're going to get 10% off all products.
What else could you want?
So go on to feelsupreme.co.uk, get yourself all your CBD oil, all your stuff for recovery. They have fighter packs built for you guys, you fighters. They have fighter packs. Stick in Fight Talk at 10% off. Welcome, Feel Supreme, to Obviously Fight Talk. So Rob, let's break it down. This week we have a decent one.
We're back.
We are back. We're back with a bang. UFC Scotland goes down this weekend, and there's a lot of lads, a lot of Scots on the card, and we are joined by higher level martial arts head coach. Yeah, we don't mess around. James Doolan will be joining us, and we'll obviously be talking about Stevie Ray and Danny Henry on the card, and just the state of Scottish MMA and what it's doing for Scotland. We're going to be joined by, we're not saying he's the best, we're just saying there's nobody better. Brendan Dorman will be joining us. Rhys McKee probably had the best domestic fight of this year anyway, possibly ever, against Richie Smullen on Friday night.
And you probably only seen the highlights.
30. And if you're like me and you're like Rob, you've seen highlights of it, and we were robbed of seeing between Unilad and Dave. We were robbed of seeing the full fight. Hopefully, BAMMA will release it soon.
I hope so.
Gotta release it soon. And Daniel Movahedi, who was on duty at BAMMA 30 at the weekend, will also be joining us. But Rob, let's get into it straight away, and let's look ahead to UFC Fight Night 113, and we're talk with James Doolan, the higher level martial arts head coach. So let's get him on. So welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk, and we are now joined by the head coach of higher level martial arts, who will have a busy weekend coming up this weekend at UFC in Scotland. We're delighted to be joined by James Doolan. So James, thanks a million for taking the time to come on to Obviously Fight Talk.
No worries, man. I'm glad to be on.
So this is obviously a busy weekend for you, but in general, James, before we get talking about the lads you have on the card, how big at the moment, like media wise, and is there a bit of a craze at the moment in Scotland with the UFC coming on the Scottish soil?
I don't know if it's been as big this time as it was the first time they came. It's been proper. It's blown up a good bit. I think with the success Stevie Ray has been having and stuff, and some of the Scottish fighters are a wee bit more established now. It's been pretty big. I think the media stuff's going to pick up this week, to be honest.
Because I know hearing it was a long time before the UFC. After he originally came for UFC 92, 93, it took them a long time to come back. It was almost like McGregor himself dragged them to the soil, back to Irish soil. So do you feel it is there's a lot of Scottish fighters on the card here, so do you think it's more so to allow the Scottish guys to have that hometown fight, or is it the draw in Scotland itself is that big?
I think it would sell out in Scotland without a single Scottish fighter on it, to be honest. I think there's that kind of market for it. The first one sold out really quick. I think the ticket sales are good for this one. I think it definitely makes it easier having the 4 locals on it. But I think the UFC brand and the name and stuff, they could put on 5 or 6 fights in that arena and sell it out, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Aside from the fights on the card where you have fighters on them, what do you think of the card itself? It's got a little bit of criticism by some Scottish fans on our social media, but what do you think of the fight card itself?
I would never really criticise a card too much, to be honest. I'll watch anyone fight. I think sometimes when you get those fight cards where you can kind of look over it and there's nothing like really standing out to casual fans and stuff. When I look over some of the fight card there, all I see is like up and coming hungry fighters try to prove themselves, and a lot of time that can make for better fights. I think there's nobody in that card going to be fighting safe. I don't think. Everybody's there to try and get to the next level or whatever.
One thing that surprised us was one of your fighters, Danny Henry. He was on our show, it must be 3 months ago at this stage, 3.5 months ago. It was just before Stevie fought Joe Lozon, actually. And he was calling for the UFC call. We spoke in depth about it with Danny, and it didn't seem like it was going to come. Now it's come, I think, 3 weeks out from the card. What was the delay with it? Or was there something, or was it negotiation, or why was it so short notice? It seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah, when the date was announced, we pushed for it a little bit. Danny had just come off a big win and stuff, but we only really pushed for it for a couple of weeks, and then Danny actually injured his foot in training, and then we kind of stopped pushing for it a little bit, and then he was just back in training, and then out of the blue, like Sean Shelby's contacted us, just making sure he was still available and stuff. We'd actually seen Sean Shelby at the Nashville card when Stevie fought Joe Lozon, and we took Danny over with us. So he was aware of Danny. We had some kind of correspondence weeks and weeks out, just saying I'm aware of him and the usual kind of keep him in shape and run about his fight weight thing. But it did come out the blue to an extent, like 3 weeks out and stuff like that. But something kind of similar happened with Stevie. He signed for the UFC at 2 weeks' notice.
Tough opponent in Daniel Timur. Was it an instant, signed a contract, didn't matter what the name was for Danny? Or, was a little bit of thought? Did he speak to yourself and get your thoughts on it? Yeah,
it was pretty much a no-brainer for him that he's going to sign regardless of who they gave him. They tried a couple other guys first. I think they tried. Oh shit, the name. I can't even remember. They tried a guy for American Top Team, and he couldn't make the weight, or he didn't take the fight or whatever. And then we actually thought we actually get told like 3 weeks out, you'll be on this card. We'll just try to get you an opponent. And then when it got to like 2 weeks out, we'd been given 2 names, and two guys had turned the fight down and stuff. And then we're like, maybe this isn't actually going to happen. And then eventually they got back saying that Tamer had took the fight. So it's a bit of relief actually that he's got an opponent sorted and stuff. It's a tough fight. The boy's a good fighter, similar to his brother and stuff. So, but there's not going to be any easy fights for Danny there anyway. So we'll just have to kind of get on with it now. Nobody
would know Danny better than yourself, really. With that type of thing of the opponent not being known, the date and the venue known, the promotion known, but the opponent not known, how would that affect Danny? Or does it affect him? Does he not mind? It's just whoever's standing across the cage, it doesn't really matter? Danny's probably one of the most strongest guys I've ever worked with mentally. He doesn't get phased with a lot of the fights I had in South Africa. We couldn't find a lot of footage on the guys, and
like people weren't too forthcoming and sending us information about the guys and stuff. So a lot of the fights were kind of going into blind. But Danny's, if anyone in our team is kind of built for that, is Danny. He's mentally very, very tough. He doesn't get phased by much at all. So I think he'll deal with everything in his stride pretty well. I think there's some guys that might affect, but he seems pretty excited about it, to be honest.
As well, with it being in Scotland, is there a different preparation for this, James? As in, you know, is it easier to prepare the guys, or is it harder being the hometown? They're going to have that pressure being the hometown. Is it easier or harder, essentially, if they were fighting in Vegas or if they were fighting in New York or whatever? Is there a difference, or does it not really matter? It's just, at the end of the day, it's just a stadium and it's the same 8 walls.
I think for the fighters that I've got on, it's easier. They can make the weight easier and stuff. They know where everything is. The hotel's both within kind of driving distance for both of the guys, so they can come and go as they please. There's no differences with like trying to find what things for them to eat, or Stevie's got some crazy dietary requirements where whenever we go away we're shopping about looking for daft things like pink Himalayan sea salt and shit like that, so we can find all that in Glasgow pretty quick. In terms of, for me, I prefer being away. I like that kind of week in the hotel where there's nothing else to think about or focus on other than the fight. Whereas in Glasgow there's some distractions where there's like people coming in to watch some training now, and people harassing us for like tickets and all that kind of stuff. But for Stevie and Danny, I think they're going to love every minute of it. I think walking out into the hydro and the crowd and all that will be good for them.
Moving on to Stevie Ray. This, we're right in still saying this is his last fight in his current contract, correct?
Yeah, it's the last fight in his second contract, yep.
So is he looking at this as in, today there's rumours as well that Gegard Mousasi has gone across the Bellator. Is he looking at this, a big win obviously over Ross Pearson and Joe Lozon in his last 2 bouts? Is he looking to put on a performance here against Paul Felder to almost say, I want a bigger, stronger contract? Is he using that, or is he willing to test the free agency pool, as is now being coined the phrase?
I think if you asked him, he'd get a different answer from me. He's definitely looking to beat Paul and kind of complete that hat trick of those like 3 kind of excellent fighters with Pearson and Lozon, and adding Felder to that. Whether that plays any factor in what they're going to offer him for his next contract or stuff, I don't really know. I don't think the UFC even consider stuff like that, to be honest. You've seen some of these guys at a different weight class, ranked top 5 and 6, and they're still getting paid like 1 or 2 fights into their original contract. I don't think your winning streaks and stuff like that affect what they're going to offer. Hopefully he gets a dominant win, and then when he goes to negotiate with them, they take that into consideration. But they control everything, really. They've got such a kind of monopoly in the sport. They can pretty much do what they want, really. The free agency thing, it'll be interesting to see what happens with guys like maybe Joe Duffy and stuff like that, who are kind of similar to Stevie and record and whatever else, and see how that goes. But as far as I'm concerned, I think he wins this fight. They offer him a bump up in his contract, and he'll still be at the UFC for his next fight, I'd imagine.
Considering that you don't think it'd matter that much if he wins or loses, there won't be a huge difference in the contract, would you have rathered Stevie to sign a contract before this so he doesn't have that weighing on his mind going into the card, or does it not matter really?
I think, to be honest, it's a bit of a learning experience for both of us. The last time he signed, after he'd won 3 fights when he renewed his contract, so he's 1 fight left type of thing, and then this time he's letting the contract run out, so we can both kind of figure out how it goes and take it to there. I think obviously the most important thing just now is we get the win at the weekend and perform at the weekend, and then that stuff we'll just have to take it take it as it comes.
Something you said with Danny that's not going to be the case here for Stevie is it's hard to get some footage on some of the fighters he's fighting. Paul Felder is obviously a well-known UFC veteran at this stage as well, so obviously you're not going to give away big game plans, but looking at this, what way do you see the fight going and where do you see it taking place mainly? Like, as in, do you see it being a stand-up or...
Yeah, I think Felder's an excellent fighter. He's one of the guys I like to watch. We actually hung about with him in Brazil when Felder fought Ronaldo and stuff, and he's a cool guy. He's like a very cool guy. Him and the last two guys, Lozon and Pearson, it's been excellent prepping for them just because I get to watch the guys fight. I'm kind of going home at night and watching like kind of Scottish amateur fighters for some of their amateur guys, and then getting maybe 45 minutes into watching, like going through watching these scrappy 3-minute guys to watching Pearson, then Lozon, and now Felder. So it's been great for me to watch, to prep for, and it's been cool working some stuff into Stevie's game. Hopefully that'll come across in the fight, but we always prepare for everything, to be honest. Our main thing is we get Stevie in and get him loose and get him comfortable, and then we can figure it out as we go. We don't go in with Stevie, we don't have a super rigid game plan with most opponents. We go in, try and get him settled in, and then between me and him, we'll try and figure stuff out as it comes.
As a coach, this is something you always see as fighters. Like, there is coaches like for Haas is always he has his YouTube channel. He's very well spoken and he comes across in a lot of media stuff as well. Same with John Kavanagh here in Ireland. We have numerous coaches out through it that the personality of sometimes you just see the fighter and you don't see the coach behind it. So from your perspective, like, you can say obviously the fighters do the training, they do whatever, but you're speaking about going home and studying tape. Just talk us through your actual day, James, in prepping both and dealing with fighters, because they're all individuals, they've all their same personalities. So what's your typical day, week with prepping both Stevie and Danny here for these fights?
It's first thing in the morning, it's up and I'll be checking emails and stuff. It's like morning practice. I usually try and fit my own training in the morning, whether it's jiu-jitsu or pads or whatever. Then I get some one-on-one time in with some of the pro guys. So I get Stevie a couple of days and Danny a couple of days during the day. They've got strength conditioning on the other days. I'll train myself a little bit. Afternoon, I'm either watching tape or dealing with more emails, and then I'm coaching again in the evening. I get more kind of one-on-one time with the fighters, and then we have group sessions and stuff at night. So the afternoon I'm usually planning the evening sessions. Usually if I'm a few days ahead, so like for this week my sessions would have been planned last week. And then when I get home for training, that's when I watch tape. I tend to I don't sleep that much, so I'll get home and then that's when I'll either be watching tape or I'll be trying to find footage, or I'll be emailing guys I know for different places to get footage that I maybe can't find on YouTube and stuff. But it's pretty much 24/7. But I've been like that for a long time, like in that routine. I used to, when I coached Joanne Caldwood, I had that for when we were going to Invicta and stuff, and then I carried it over for Cage Warriors, and then BAMMA, then with Stevie through the UFC. So it's just a routine I'm in now where if I'm not physically on the mats, I'm planning, so I'm breaking stuff down. Other than that, I'm usually texting or maybe messaging ideas over to the guys during the day, annoying some of the other boys at work and stuff, like, I want you to look at this or think about this, or I'm maybe contacting certain guys saying I need you to spar like this for the next month or whatever and stuff like that. So it's non-stop. A lot of people don't really think that, a lot of people just think that the coach turns up and runs a class or whatever, but I know the successful ones are obsessed with it, and it consumes them a little bit.
What's your emotion like on the day yourself? All the work is done. This is where you're doing a lot of the work as well that we would see watching the show. But talk us through the emotions of Stevie or Danny is just being introduced by Bruce Buffer or Joey Martinez. You walk out of the cage, take your seat, you sit down. Are you nervous? Do you have the butterflies? Are you excited? Are you panicked? Or are you just studying everything that the opponent's doing to advise your fighter in between rounds or live?
I still get quite nervous and stuff. I think I actually get more nervous for some of those walkouts than I did when I was fighting myself. But most of the time I'm just trying to be calm and confident, and just the same as the fighter, just reassure myself that everything's been done, the work's been done. There's nothing, it's out of our control now. Like, I can only walk in and know that we're prepared to the best of our abilities, and if I can put any input into the fight as it happens and stuff, then I will. But more often than not, the work's all done by that point, so it's kind of like sitting back and try to view it in a way that I can help, or if I'm maybe seeing something the fighter's not seeing, stuff like that. But it's different from fight to fight. Sometimes I'll hardly need to speak, and then other times I'm going to have to make adjustments and stuff like that. But it can be quite nerve-wracking. I'm always relatively confident, but because I know how hard the guys I'm with are working. If they weren't working that hard, they wouldn't be anywhere near the cage, to be honest. So we've got a bit of a proven track record now where I think I'm 6-1 coaching in the UFC. I've got a good record at Cage Warriors, at BAMMA, at EFC and stuff like that. So I know we're doing stuff right. It's just a case now of getting everything together on the night.
Well, we wish you and the lads fighting at the weekend the best of luck. I'm looking forward to sitting at home on my couch on the edge of my seat watching it. But like we said, get in there and have your last week with the lads, and best of luck, as we said, at the weekend. And we wish you the best of luck with it. Hopefully we get 2 hands raised for you.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks.
Cheers. And thanks a million for taking the time to come out today. All right, take care. Thanks a million.
See you, mate. Bye.
Good luck. Cheers. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Head coach of both Stevie Ray and Danny Henry fighting this weekend at UFC in Scotland. I think it's fight night 113.
Sounds right.
It's Gunny Nelson is fighting as well, is headlining the card. But yeah, big things coming out of Scotland, and I'm looking forward. We've had both Stevie and Danny on previously, so looking forward to seeing them in action on Saturday night. I think is it Fight Pass or it's Fight Pass or BT Sports?
Yeah, it'd be Fight Pass for the US viewers and BT Sports for us.
Beautiful.
Assuming.
Excellent stuff. Moving on. So welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk. And for people watching on YouTube, you can see, and if you're listening on audio, you're about to hear. We are joined by, we're not saying he's the best, we're just saying there's no one better. We're joined by Brendan Dorman. Brendan, great to talk to you, my man.
To be the man, you got to beat the man, right?
100.
Woo. What's up, bub?
I want to
reference. I had to give you one.
I want to dive straight into the Ultimate Fighter, the finale, the main event. People are calling this Fight of the Year already. Somebody tweeted the early contender for Fight of the Year. I was like, man, it's July. How can it be the early? Well, it's July. Just in case you take it on Michael Johnson. All I can say is, wow. But what can you say?
There's 2 ways I can look at it really positively, and then I can look at the negatives. Would never be about the fighters. I don't tend to ever do that. If I knock somebody, it's either a promoter or the media or someone that plagiarizes me, whoever that would be. So, anywho, what I did a breakdown on Gaethje prior to, right? Just to kind of give people an idea that cared of his skill set. And it's funny because I covered just about everything he did, He does that kind of like peekaboo effect thing where he'll keep his high shell and come in, and then he sneaks his uppercuts and his leg kicks from there. And he does it with some like pretty good foot positioning because he works with Trevor Whitman, who's awesome. I was a little bit surprised that he was willing to stand and trade the whole time, and with someone like Johnson who's got fast hands. So Fight of the Year and all that, of course it's subjective. It depends on what kind of fight do you like, if both guys got concussed a lot. Well, in Johnson's case, the liver shot to me was the nail in the proverbial coffin or whatever. But Gaethje was like, one time I thought it was done, and I would say probably 3 times total there was at least a concussion. It was like he was like
wobbling,
chicken dancing, And I just, when people are saying, Tony Ferguson Khabib next, or if Khabib can't, then Gaethje. And I'm like, I don't know. Are we rushing this kid a bit? Because that was awfully close to a loss. And here's where I want to flip the script and not be a complete asshole, or come off like one anyway. Incredible moxie, incredible warrior. Jesus Christ, that kid is so tough. I mean, to come back from that like that, and he had snap on his punches at the end. Like he had something there, and that's just that indomitable warrior spirit thing. But what I suggest, as I always want to look at things from an analytical stance or a coach's stance, is that when he was getting clipped, if and when you go back and rewatch it, watch him take his head off of things. Like, so in other words, when you see like, okay, I hate to belabor a point, but with Khabib Johnson, right? He gets caught once. I broke that down. I did the whole fight. I could only get it on Vimeo because I can't post whole fights on YouTube. Yeah. But I did the commentary, and I slowed down a couple of parts. He got caught once, and when Johnson caught him, he dropped, L-stepped, and re-engaged. That was it. And the talking point of that fight was not Khabib's incredible grappling. It wasn't that his striking was on par. He caught Johnson actually more times than Johnson caught him. The talking point, if you want to call it that, was Khabib got caught. He was exposed. Was he exposed? When he fights Conor, he's gonna die. They're gonna rush him. All right, calm the fuck down. A. B. Why in one case is that the story, and in the other case this story? When Gaethje got hit, his legs were bad. If Khabib catches you and your legs do that, you're done. Or Conor, or a real Johnson's not so much a finisher, right? He's very fast, and that's where his power is, in his speed and his footwork and his setups, and working with a brilliant guy. And I can testify to this because I worked with him too. And Henry, if you listen to his corner advice, he's a brilliant striking coach. Johnson's background isn't even striking, So there's a lot of takeaways from that. Gaethje is the first guy that beat a local fighter around where I live. This guy Nick Newell, he fought in Bellator. Great underdog kind of story. Yeah. Great guy too. And at first I thought Gaethje was kind of like a meathead because of that. I was partial, if you will. Yeah. But so fight of the year, as far as like holy all of that madness, I think so. But from like a technical, if you're a purist, I guess. Yeah. Then to me, I always say I'd rather watch a DJ fight, or you know what I mean. How about oh no, that was last year. I was gonna say like Garbrandt's performance against Dominic. Yeah. It's not that how close it was, but you see what I'm saying. It depends on what you look for in fights.
See, I think it's if you're like sometimes I noticed I done it when I was watching. We're gonna speak about, there was a Muay Thai show here on Saturday, brand called Capital One, and sometimes when I go to a show and I'm announcing a show, sometimes you just sit back and you sort of watch a fight and you go, when something big happens, and then sometimes you watch a fight and you're scoring it and you're it's different. I was talking.
It's like a different genre. It's like watching a movie. It's like a different genre.
I was coming home from the show with Anto Gorman, who's a judge here, and we were talking about it. There's a big difference when you're watching a fight, and there's a big difference when you're scoring a fight and looking at it differently. So I find sometimes like, yes, you could say that was fight of the year if you were just watching the fight, if you know what I mean. But I agree with you. I think the Garbrandt Cruz, because it's more technical, it's more like, this was just a barn burner. This almost was like a UFC fight 10 years ago, where it's just who's the toughest guy. What surprised me about with Johnson was that he got dragged into this brawl, and he came into Gaethje's world. That's exactly what Justin Gaethje wants. And I was surprised. At first, Johnson was having this success because of his foot movement, because of his angles, because of his hand speed. But then, sort of halfway through, 3/4 way through the first round, he stopped that, and he stood in front of Justin and was giving him that target. And Henry Hughes said that to him in his corner in between rounds. You got to move, use your footwork, use your speed. And he was starting to do that again in the second round and having success doing it, but then got drawn back into it.
For me, I think that's almost a skill in itself. And that's one thing I think Gaethje done really well, is that he can get guys to come in and play that game with him. Like if you go back and you watch someone who we'll talk about, I'm sure, Andy Pesce's first fight in the UFC. Yeah. When he first fought in the UFC and he fought against Clay Guida, he couldn't get Clay Guida to play that game with him. Whereas Gaethje come in, and what I tweeted after the fight was, that was a Justin Gaethje performance, a Justin Gaethje fight, and that's why he brought to the UFC, and that's why he had so much success. Not many people can come in and get high-level guys like Johnson, and again, you said it, he's a really good fighter, might not be a knockout artist as such, but he came in, he said, I'm not going to play this game, and Gaethje made him play it, and Gaethje won the fight, almost lost it, but he played the game that he wanted to play, which is impressive.
Realistically, with these tactics that Justin Gaethje has,
yeah,
we've sort of spoke about it a little bit, okay? This would almost remind you, if you look at somebody that everybody, be it the casual fan or who's listening, or the real strong MMA guy fan, if you look at Chuck Liddell, for example, Chuck Liddell could always take a shot to land his shot. But as we've spoke on a few times, Brendan, Rob, about the expiry date goes, like Justin Gaethje, if he could sell chins, he'd be a billionaire because he's an amazing chin. But realistically, with that tactic, how far can you go against a higher level guy who's not going to get dragged into that?
Not much farther, in my opinion. If again, it's not about calling fights, it's about skill level. And let's say Johnson had an incredible back take and rear naked choke. That fight was over. Period. I mean, he was that hurt. And here's the thing maybe I want to maybe hammer it home a little more. His chin is more like his fortitude. I'm coming up with a word, but he was fucking rocked.
That's
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
he wasn't like, when you see like, when I always talk about like Hagler's chin, and there's the obvious MMA ones that everyone knows. But do yourself a favor and type in Hagler highlights or watch his fights. When he got, we're talking like Tommy Hearns, like. And here's the thing, here's a trick everyone should know. Boxers punch harder than MMA fighters. That's what they do. Tommy Hearns had one of the most terrifying pistons of a right hand ever. He got Hagler clean like once, definitely, maybe 2 times. And Hagler was like, forward. There was no fucked up legs. There was no like, oh boy. There was none of that. So that to me is a granite chin. What he was doing is recovery. So he has incredible recovery. I think there's a distinction, and I think it's relevant, because if it's a matter of the Hagler-ish or the Hunt or the Roy Nelson for a long time, I mean, those two are kind of tailing off. But those kind of guys that just eat it and move forward, that's a different strategy than someone that when they get rocked is able to recover after X amount of time, right? It's all about. Think of 155 with the Barbozas, Pettis, the way he looked at. Maybe we'll get there. Ferguson, Habib, all the guys that are above him still. I would say, if those guys, maybe not Pettis probably, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. Those guys, if they get you hurt like that, they're gonna finish you. Pettis maybe not so much, but the others 100%. 100%. Ferguson especially, because he'll just Darce choke you the minute you rocks. You're not getting out of that.
Realistically, who's next one? Like, one thing he did talk about was he did say he's not going to start calling for the money fight and stuff like that. But then at the same time, he called out Ferguson, didn't he? But like a lot of people, I seen a few people mention, they'd love to see him fight Nate Diaz and stuff like that. Realistically, after Johnson, is Eddie Alvarez probably a good option for a fight? Because Eddie Alvarez would be like that, and potentially it puts him higher again.
And him are gonna redo it from everything I'm hearing. Which I think is the right thing.
Makes sense.
Because it kind of ended wrong. I don't think anyone walked away from that fight feeling good about it, including the fighters and fans. So I think they rerun it. So to me, you can't give him Khabib or Tony. Those two have to fight. You got to figure it out. Anyway, I think a better one would be like just that next tier. So like Barboza's the perfect fight, I think.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
And you see, I think Barboza wouldn't get dragged.
You're going to raise Barboza's one of those guys that's always just needed his stock to rise, right? Like he's always been exciting for us guys that follow it as closely as we do. But for the casuals, they have no idea who that guy is yet.
Watching Barboza.
Who's more fun to watch? I don't think he's ever been in a fight that I'm like, this sucks. Maybe 1 or 2, but his fights are exciting.
Yeah.
And I think there's a guy that, all right, let's see that. Let's see it now. With a real striker, you know what I mean?
My social media blew up with everyone saying Nate Diaz, but sure,
That just won't happen.
it won't happen.
It won't happen.
It's not big
It
enough.
doesn't make sense, and Nate would never
take it.
ever.
No.
Let's jump into UFC. Quickly. You done a breakdown on Mark Diakese. Mark was on the end of a loss to Close in a split.
In a close fight.
In a close fight. It was a split decision. A lot of people.
Those fights are hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
See, because I did a breakdown on the guy, I have like
You're
this
invested.
vested interest in him to
exactly,
win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he's losing it and not in a really easily tangible kind of way, it was all that like. Obviously, if you see me put things on Twitter, I'm more like emotional because I'm watching the fight.
You were
I need
certainly
a day
active.
to kind of digest it. But I was blowing up like, you know, the guy landed 4 leg kicks and then cage hugged like, for the win. It was like, give him some distance, let him fight, because that guy can do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like Pettis versus Alvarez. Do you remember that fight?
Yeah.
When he fought Eddie Alvarez? Yeah. Everyone was just like, ugh.
Frustrating.
And that's how, it just felt like that to me. It was just like, come on. There was no winner. I mean, hats off, you win. But I feel like the fans lost a tad there, you know?
Yeah.
Close fight, but it is what it is. I wanted to see his skill set some more, you know? That guy's got some insane ideas anyway, but again, you wonder, right? Because when you're in situations like that, and that's what I loved about the Pettis fight too, is that his moxie as far as his comeback is when you got someone just trying to cage fuck you've got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, when Yoel was trying to lay on Bobby, I know I'm bringing up all these fights that are later in the card, but he was doing brilliant, I mean, a lot of brilliant things. But one of the things he'll do is relax, and then get head control and probably an overhook if he can, and then he spins out really violently.
Yeah.
So you've got to do that. If you're a striker and the other person is a cage, you know, humper or whatever, you've got to find a way to get out of that. You should be training that all camp, you know, every camp. If you're not good there, you know.
In a way, this could be a good thing for him in the long run.
He's young. He'll be fine. It's just that's what he needs to work on, I think.
I'm not comparing him to John Jones, but do you remember when John Jones first came into the UFC and he was doing all this crazy stuff in every fight, and now he's more refined, he's more, you know, he goes back to the basics. Maybe Diakese will look at something like that and he'll go a bit more basic. Not that he won't throw these amazing kicks and what he does, but he seems to not rely, but he seems to throw a lot of them when maybe it's not the right opportunity to throw them. So maybe he'll, you know.
Yeah. And again, to use a Pettis parallel, straight punches.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing if we want to talk about the Verdum fight. Sometimes, just to expand upon your point, flashy shit is awesome. But if your 101 stuff isn't perfect, yeah, you know, at that level, I don't know. It's cool. You'll catch the lower rank guys, but. They're gonna see it coming. They watch film. They have coaches. You know, if you don't stick to jabs, and then you know when you feel like you've got an opportunity to get a little crazy and creative, then you do that. You can't just be creative for 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a reliable strategy.
Plus,
it's not real.
If you play any video game in the world, and we all know video games replicate real life, when you do crazy superhero moves, it always drains your energy, and that's real in real fights. It's like to do a high level, you know what I mean? To use a high level skill move takes a lot more energy than it does to use a fundamental. So, like a Street Fighter, when you try and do a Hadouken or whatever like that, you'll exhaust your thumbs, and you know these things happen.
Yeah.
So let's jump into 213. Just pick the LCM, stand on the far side of the screen and go, and piss your mate off. That's what I used to do.
The new ownership wants to put that on the fights. They want to put like bars, like life bars on the top.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me with all the shit going on lately.
Yeah, don't talk to me about them. It's ridiculous. Todd Grisham. UFC 213. Let's talk about it. You two guys are going to lead the dance in this one, because I'll be watching the recordings. So, do you want to start? You done your breakdown as well of Robert Whittaker, and you also had a breakdown of Yoel Romero. What did we think of the main event? Was it the right decision?
Oh, yeah. Some could argue you could have given the first to Whitaker, but I wouldn't. I would give it to Yoel.
Yeah.
I rewatched it only once, but I saw that oblique kick when it happened. I tweeted that out right away. I was like, that's not good, because the way that he ate it oblique. It's Chaspas kick, but not everyone calls it an oblique kick. Anyway, when the way that he was coming forward, and he does I always did this too, because I didn't wrestle in high school, and I know you guys don't even have wrestling, do you? Really?
No. Not in high school.
At all?
No,
Okay.
no, we'd have wrestling in gyms if you went to, but we don't. It's not. You don't.
You
It's
have
not.
to go find it. It's
It's
not
not part of a
a
curriculum.
curriculum.
No.
Okay. So my high school that I went to didn't have wrestling. So for whatever reason, I didn't do any grappling till later. I did all striking since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
With that said, as you know, I'm a huge mark for Roy Jones, and this will make sense in about 20 seconds. So whenever I got into, say, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, even though my original roots were Taekwondo, karate, I always draped my left hand because I was trying to emulate Roy Jones, right?
Yeah.
And Bobby Nux does the same thing. Now, the reason that he wants to do that is to have a takedown defense kind of set in place, right? And it worked for me the same way.
Yeah.
The reasons that I did it are maybe different, but it's the same result and it's the same efficacy, right? You having a low draped hand, and you can hide that lead jab, which, by the way, the distance that dude covers is insane. And even on that bum knee, he was doing it. So what you had was really good strategies from both guys. Yoel actually, in a loss, looked as good as he's ever looked. It's hard to see that sometimes in a loss, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But to get hurt like that on a pre-existing injury, and someone released a tape of him doing warm-ups maybe 2 days before, and he was favoring it. So that shit was real. Now, who knows if Yoel saw that? I don't know, because it landed just so perfect timing-wise, and that's a hard kick to time.
And then he stopped kicking
well.
as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say, as far as who won that, to me, it's kind of clear cut that Yoel won 1-2, and then Robert won the 3-4-5, and I think it was 5 really convincingly, right?
Yeah.
Technically, where do we start? There's so much to talk about, but talk about toughness. Now, unlike prior discussed Gaethje fight, and again, I'm not. That dude is awesome. I'm not knocking him at all. What I'm trying to say is there's a difference between getting rocked and then coming back. Like, Whitaker didn't get hurt because of a concussion. It was a goofy kind of thing, like a freakish injury, if you will, or whatever, And even on bad wheels, and he's not one to switch stance much either. He did more in that fight than he normally does. Yeah. So you're kind of fucked with Yoel always standing southpaw and throwing that kick with the leaping fashion that he does, and he's obviously a freak athlete, So it was just, when that happened, it was like, shit, that's his game. I mean, takedown defense, the way he throws his hips out, he overhooks well and withers out. I thought a lot of that shit would be nullified because he was going to be hurt, but his corner gave him some good advice. It was kind of like the old Jackson to GSP, I think my groin is pulled. He's like, fucking hit him with it. Yeah. It was that kind of thing, toughen up. So a lot to like, man. I could talk about the technique all day. I've studied both of those guys a ton before that fight. So, Whitaker, I think, is a great example of a couple of things. Steadfast improvement of a young fighter if they put their time in, right? Because I don't think Australia, and of course I don't mean any disrespect, I don't think it's chock full of MMA gyms, high level. It can't be. I mean, you have I know there's the Golden Coast. Where's John Wayne Parr from?
We had John Wayne.
There's a big Muay Thai.
John Wayne was on with us there a couple of weeks ago. I'm not. He is Sydney.
Wherever that is.
It's more Muay Thai. It's either, I suppose they're closer to Thailand as well, so Muay Thai is a lot bigger in Australia than MMA.
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't even think about the Thailand connection. But the point being is that for him to get as good as he has, where he has, at the age that he is telling of a guy that's got some serious work ethic. Yeah. And for him to make the really intelligent decision to stop cutting to 170, he's a great example of why you cannot deplete your natural body that much. Yeah. I mean, yes, be in shape, but not to the point of, shuffling to a scale or pulling out of main events,
And in the fifth, he wasn't, as you said, he was in good shape. He wasn't that tired in the fifth, even with the bum leg. And one thing that
the takedown defense for how many rounds, right?
Exactly, yeah, against the superstar wrestler. Another thing, the takedown defense. But one thing we brought up in the Joanna fight was the way when they do get taken down, where they land and the positioning. That's one thing that I caught with the fight as well. When he got taken down, he was always in a good position to pop back up. Every single time. He never landed on his back. He never gave up the takedown. So I thought that was very, very impressive.
For students of the game or younger people that are training, one thing you want to watch about his takedown defense, there's 1,000 things, but the obvious things that you should look for, his ability to find an overhook, like for to whizzer his hips out, and the rate at which his hips move out of position was just incredible. And his back to someone getting cage humped, the way that he was getting out of cage situations, especially in those later rounds. Like, he wasn't letting them lay, I think it was 4 and 5. Yeah. He was doing that, like, stall, defense. And Yoel's got really incredible and, unique trips against the cage. If you saw what he was trying to do, and then the way that Whitaker was defending them, it was brilliant. He kept blading his hips in a way so that Yoel couldn't use, like, fulcrum points in order to bring him down. Or if he did, it was only kind of to a hand. He never really slammed him or got him down. He got him down, but he'd pop up quick enough. Or like you said, those kind of like cat scrambles like Joanna was doing, where it's more of a whizzer hip out and then let it ride. So you can pop up. Yeah. It was incredible, man. Incredible performance. One of the best in a long time.
Yeah. It's somebody that
I don't think a lot of people are picking him. I think he might have been the favorite, but in conversation, I didn't hear many people.
People have been sleeping on Robert Whitaker for a long time, and I've been one of them guys. Like, because he was tough. Was he in Tough Smashes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so I just sort of slept on him. Like, and I think you've picked him every time on his selections, except
for against Jacare.
Yeah.
The only one.
Yeah. So and like he sort of slept on him, and now he's got a belt wrapped around his waist. What's amazing about it was, you see Bisping coming in. I was like, I've nothing but respect for you, and then he fucks his belt on him. But you can have that belt because this is bullshit. And Bisping just went off as Bisping does. Yeah. Somebody that I know you will have loved seeing back in the big win column as well was Anthony Showtime Pettis defeating Jim Miller. So how did you feel with your boy on that one?
A little bit. Did you speak about Pettis Miller?
Yeah.
Okay, so about time, Anthony. Thank you. As a fan and as a friend of Duke's, it was really nice to see what we think of as Showtime back. So a couple of technical things. I always said this about him, especially when he armbarred Benson and won the UFC belt. His ability to strike so well was also predicated on the fact that he was so good off of his back. And if you watch the couple chances Miller had, there were two notable ones. One was when he was on top, the way in which Anthony was throwing his hips up, the speed at which he throws up triangles and attempts arm bars is just, it's incredible. I believe he's a brown belt now, but he's always kind of had those hips. And his jiu-jitsu coach, Daniel Wanderlei, he's out of Rufus Sport too. He knows how to, again, the MMA jiu-jitsu thing, Anthony's got that usually in spades. We hadn't seen it in a while. He also had, Miller had his back at one point. The way that he reversed that by using head to the mat pressure and turning in at the right moment, that's all feel. When someone has your back, a lot of escapes are feel. You can't, as a white belt, you never be able to do that. Because you can't see shit, clearly, Yeah. So he just, from a technical standpoint, there's that, right? Miller's super tough, but his striking was great. He was always open. He was playing a lot of open stance. Miller be southpaw, and he'd like to play on as a righty, like he did with Benson Henderson, land body kicks, and then very straight, very fast punches. That a lot of it was the body kicks, because the open stance, right? Usually that works in a favor of trying to get to the liver. But either way, your body is exposed if I'm orthodox and my opponent's southpaw, the body's generally open for body kicks, right? So And Pettis used to always do that with reckless abandon, because go ahead and take him down and he'll submit you. And that you saw a little bit of that, a smidge anyway. But the straight punching, the angles, and what I noticed from him that was better than normal is his ability to kind of retract. He wasn't overcommitting. You saw a couple of Showtime moves, but he would like jab, and when Miller would go to counter, he was like pulling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His boxing looked better. So his angular sense, when he was switching stances, Duke was giving him just phenomenal instruction from the corner. And hat tip to Miller for gutting it out or whatever. But Pettis looked like Pettis. You know, it was wonderful to watch. I love watching that guy when he's on, because it's just it's fun striking. You know.
Yeah. That's one thing that I spotted as well. The way he was just stepping out of the pocket and then landing and then stepping out of the pocket while Miller was backed up against the cage. I think for basically the first round entirely, that's what the first round was, where Miller was just backed up against the cage and couldn't get anything going. As well, one thing you brought up, the kicks. The way he throws his body kicks, his head kicks, and even the front teep. Exact same setup. You can't even see any difference in the setup.
He throws them all at the same angle. And I don't know if you remember, there was one time where he did a push kick that got Miller in the face. Yeah. He throws that at an angle and then comes up. There's a way to do that. I learned it from Phil Nurse. Everyone calls it something different. I forget what Phil calls it. Some people call it like a Michael Jackson kick, but your leg because it comes up and then straight. Yeah. So you throw like almost like it's going to come like a round kick, and then you turn your hips to shoot straight. He did that with that high kick. The camera didn't catch it well, but that's what he was doing. It was brilliant. Lovely. And those teeps in the third round, you saw the result. Yeah. Those are, the jab and teeps as far as striking, so underutilized. You know, but like you said, distance-wise, in that whole pressing him against the cage thing, he was so creative. And the way, again, he was putting his punches together with his kicks. And you hear those body kicks after all that speed and the zero tell on any of it. The only tell he has on his strikes is when he gets crazy and does leaping cartwheel shit. But, you know, everything that's a basic strike, if you will, you know, in your number system was just, God, zero tell. Super fast, precise, and he retracts well. I've worked, you know, I've known Duke forever, and one of the things he always talks about is, like, especially when it comes to leg kicks or kicks in general, is kicking and retracting. Like, a lot of coaches don't teach. If they teach it, they don't teach it right. You've got to, like, when you kick something, you've got to be real light on your pivot foot so that you can pull said kicking leg back and get out of there. Otherwise, you're susceptible either to get countered or to get, you know, taken down or whatever the case. Yeah. So, awesome performance from Pettis. Just brilliant.
The co-main event had a little bit of controversy. Majority decision was given to Alistair Overeem. Something that doesn't always tell the story of a fight is the stats. Yeah. But the stats were heavily in favour of Fabricio Verdum. Did we think the right man got his hand raised?
I thought so. I thought Overeem deserved to win it, but it's one of them things, and the big discussion coming out of it was the whole judging criteria. Was the first round was close. Overeem probably won a second round. Overeem definitely won, and then Verdum won the third round in probably the most dominant round.
But that is the whole thing. Was the score should it have been a 10-8 and hence it was a draw?
See, I can't say a 10-8, but then again, as everyone said, the last round and the first round were completely different rounds, but still I can't give a 10-8. So I agreed with it, but it's flawed. It's flawed.
Someone asked me about that earlier. What did I think? And I said it wasn't wrong, but it felt wrong.
Yeah.
That makes sense. If that makes any sense.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
It's the right system. Yeah. You know, or it's a product of the system, right? It's the 10-point must, which, you know, MMA adopted from boxing, which I don't know what the alternative is. Exactly. I don't know what the answer is to fix it. That's not my wheelhouse, really. But I do know what I saw, and I think you summed it up perfect. So I'm not going to really add to that much. But I was disappointed in Verdum. He was so tentative, man. What happened to that guy? And then when he does decide to kind of turn it on, he's like bull rushing, like angry. He's fighting at that level, like Jesus. Amateur fighters that I've coached, I'm like, you got to relax. Yeah, it's not a street fight. Chill out. He was fighting angry. It was odd. And I was like, jab. Overeem's hands are like, and he moves all like weird now.
Weird.
You know,
it's strange.
I don't know what.
The weird thing with Alistair Overeem now is he's 2 fights on the bounce, and he's probably close to his title shot again.
Yeah.
Which is really weird with
So
the
heavyweights, isn't it?
Yeah, the heavyweight division. There was another one I wanted to touch on in the heavyweight division as well.
Travis Brown.
Dana White has called for Travis Brown to hang them up, and he said this guy went from looking like a potential world champion to somebody who can't even look like he's going to win a fight. For me, even when the bell starts and Travis Brown comes out to fight, he already looks rocked. Whatever way he moves, he just looks rocked as soon as he walks out.
Yeah.
Like ding ding, fight, and you're going, fucking hell, Brown's in trouble already. Do you know what I mean? The wind from John McCarthy clapping his hands or something is landing on Brown's chin, and he's on wobbly legs straight away. But the finish was, for me, I was looking at the fight. I was looking at it on my phone, and I'm looking at it going, Brown's done here. He's already going to do the give up my back, roll over, take my neck, see you later. But for me, the choke wasn't even near in. It wasn't under his neck. His shoulder was to the mat. Right, it might have been a tight squeeze, but come on. You're a pro. I probably would have tapped. But you fight in the UFC. So as Derek Lewis tweeted, it's okay, Ronda, as soon as the fight was over. But is it right? Should Travis Brown hang them up, or should he go to Bellator and get his ass beaten over there too? Because for me, he just looks on wobbly legs as soon as the fight starts. It's so peculiar to go from how good he looked when he first started in the UFC to how bad he looks now is insane. And I don't want to bring it up, but since he's moved to Glendale, but that could be just coincidence.
So, a couple things. To quote the great Hova, politics as usual, or Dana calling, that bullshit.
Yeah.
Whatever, Dana. You don't. Since when do you tell fighters to retire? He never does that.
Yeah, it's weird.
He should retire.
Well, he tells all the fighters, like Chuck Liddell.
Whether or not he's right is moot.
Yeah.
It's out of character. And wonder if the fact that he dates Ronda has anything to do with Dana's investment there.
Oh, yeah.
Like investment emotionally. I mean,
Yeah.
And here's the thing no one's talking about with Brown, besides the fact that that choke should have never happened and shit you just had me crying laughing about, is that I think his rise and fall have also come with USADA.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You don't want to, I'm not casting stones, but you can't. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit.
Yeah.
When he was dominating, whenever that was, the elbow, he kind of like reinvented the elbow game against the cage and all that.
Yeah.
I think that was all pre-USADA. I'm
It was, yeah. It
damn
was
sure.
2013, back when he was doing that to Barnett and stuff.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
So here's, because the biggest misconception about PEDs is that you take them and you look like, Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
No,
I wish.
not at all.
Yeah.
Like, not even close to that. That's not what it's about. It's about recovery, and training like a fucking madman, and mentally, and there's a million things that come with testosterone. If you fucking went through puberty, you understand. So I think that's an honorable mention, or maybe dishonorable, but whatever. He's toast. That guy's. Who are you gonna give him next?
Yeah, well, he's on Francis Ngannou.
Sweet.
Sign me. He's on a 4-fight loss streak as well, so it's not looking good. That's normally your walking papers. In fairness, is normally a lot before that, but probably the fact that the heavyweight division is thin is maybe the reason why he was hanging around. Yeah.
It's really thin.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about Overeem, all I could think of the whole time was like, well, if he's going against Stipe again, good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
One clip on the chin. Because if you notice, I don't know if you caught any of my tweets, but when I was calling for the jab from like the jump from Verdum, he finally did land a jab in the third round, and that's what started everything. Yeah. Right? Yeah. One jab. Because I said, if you breathe on Overeem's chin, he's going to get wobbly. His chin's fucking done.
Yeah.
Just touch it, Yeah. So the fact that he couldn't do that for 3 rounds, he's trying to, fucking wheel kick before he throws a jab. Nice game plan, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. It's just, sometimes I just don't understand. These are like, it's like going into a math class and telling a physics professor that 2 + 2 is 5 and trying to justify it. It's like, it's so out of my wheelhouse. Like, You're not throwing a fucking jab against a guy with his hands down?
Yeah.
What are you doing? It was crazy to me, it's crazy because Verdum, much like Pettis' strength, if you're to take him down, Velasquez found this out, good luck. Fedor found that out too, when people thought Fedor was, whatever. So there's no worry about that with your strikes, whether it's teeps, whether it's leg kicks, whether it's a jab, which no one really takes you down off of. But Jesus, that fight was its second most frustrating of the night.
Brendan, it's a pleasure as always chatting to you, breaking it down. I'll feel more enlightened when I actually watch the fights. The one fight I did watch, I'm just absolutely ripping it out of Travis Brown. But sure, anyway, listen, Brendan, it's an absolute pleasure as always. Your latest breakdown is of Anthony Joshua. Check it out. I can see our Just Engaged one is going through the roof, along with your Robert Whittaker one is hitting big time as well.
Whittaker went bananas.
Yeah.
Because the weekend sometimes the view count doesn't catch up.
Yeah.
And I checked today and I'm like, holy shit, that did like 4,000 views over the weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, thank you, Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
And thank you, Brendan Dorman. An absolute pleasure, my man.
Thank you guys,
and we will talk soon.
Talk soon, man.
See you later, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
There you are, people. You feel enlightened? You want to know knowledge? That man breaks a fight down like no other. I love his inside. Let's hit up Rhys McKee.
Let's do it.
Get him on the blower. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you will see. If you're listening, you're going to hear. We're now joined by Skeletor Rhys McKee, coming off the biggest domestic fight of the year, definitely the best domestic fight in Ireland, possibly. I can't think of one bigger. So Rhys, thanks a million for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me again after such a great fight, so it'll be good to get a chat about it.
Let's talk about the fight. Let's talk about one thing first before we actually dive into the fight. Yeah. What were BAMMA doing, taking it off Unilad and sticking it as highlights?
Yeah.
On that, what bright spark done that idea? I don't know. You probably don't want to say too much about it, but I know my social media absolutely blew up from the fight not being on Unilad.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a big team of fans and support and sponsors that, I was very much telling, like, this is how you're going to watch it. And, to have that kind of basically ripped away, like, I'm telling people this is the platform I'm advertising your business on, and then boom, they take it away. They're doing me a disservice too. So, I was bitterly disappointed, and then for the fight to go the way they did, they messed up, Big time. They can't keep looking past me and looking past my fights, and maybe they'll realise too late,
And what? So, because I watching the build up to it was that Rhys McKee versus Richie Smullen is the main event on Unilad. So when did the rug get pulled from under both of you? As you said, both of you are coming out with sponsorship on your clothing. These sponsors are being told that they're going to be on a live stream watched by so many thousand people. So were you even aware of that coming into the cage, that it wasn't going to be shown live, or was that obviously not? That's not going to be in the forefront of your mind at that time. But were you aware that it wasn't being shown?
I wasn't aware, no, and to be honest, if I was aware, I would have been just making that walk until I found out a reason why it wasn't going to be shown. I was very much aware of when I was in there that my people were watching it back home. So no, I'm very disappointed now that I found out, that people couldn't watch. It's just a schoolboy error, absolute schoolboy.
It is. It's insane. It'd be like match of the day. Turning around and going, right. So the biggest game this weekend was this match. Let's show it for 2 minutes.
But then
they
didn't show the full fight.
Yeah, I couldn't believe.
It.
Didn't show the full fight on Dave. I'm there going, I just can't fucking believe this. To be blatantly honest.
Unreal.
But let's move away from the madness and move into the greatness that was the fight. From what I've seen, the highlights. Thanks, BAMMA. This was stunning. So the two of you are coming in. Two of you are two of the hottest prospects in this country. Everybody knew this was going to be an incredible match. Apparently not BAMMA, but everybody knew this was going to be a huge fight. The fight, talk us through the fight, Rhys. The first round went away. Everyone thought this was going to be, Richie was going to be looking for the takedown. You're going to be looking for it to be standing, and neither of you can do the opposite to one another. That proved to be totally unproven, and this turned out to be an amazing fight. So have you watched the fight back since, and just talk us through your initial thoughts of the fight?
Yeah, you know, I've watched back the highlights and stuff, and you know, I knew Richie was a very good grappler and a good wrestler, and he would have his spells in the fight, and likewise I knew I would have my spells with the hands and whatever. So that first round was absolutely everything, you know. But I never felt in great danger on the ground, you know. I thought I'd be a bit more active for subs and stuff and stuff like that, and then I was actually the one attacking the subs, and you know, I near got my finish at the end of the first round. So I think in a way, yes, it did go how it was planned, but I think if anything it was me that, you know, was showing a bit more of my game. I wasn't not taking anything away from Richie, but I was actively trying to finish in the first round, you know, and it was a great first round, and it was I remember standing up and thinking, flip me, this is going to be a mad one.
Did anything surprise you from Richie?
Yeah, that he wasn't a bit more active for subs. I thought he was going to be, you know, diving back, sitting on the legs and stuff, but he didn't. No, I didn't plan for that anyway. But I kind of in my head I was like, I need to keep my legs tight here and stuff. But he never dived on them.
When you look, it looked like you had the armbar sunk. Beautiful transition into the armbar. I think it caught Smullen by surprise at that time as well. He defended well, but if I was watching that fight live, I was convinced that was sunk. Did you think you had it?
Yeah, I thought I had it. You know, I remember kind of sneaking the arm and feeling it, and I was like, flip, he's not really retracting this arm just yet. So I thought he was maybe beating me, but then I just said, you know what, fuck it, I went for it. And then I felt I had it, but it was instantly, I kind of knew he wouldn't tap. I knew I'm going to have to break this, so I was trying to get the arch to go belly down. I couldn't get it, and he escaped, you know. But I was prepared to break the arm, but he was prepared to let it break, that was for sure.
So the fight goes the distance. You hear the reception, the roar. You could hear that in the highlights. The roar of the crowd, the appreciation, everybody who witnessed that. At that time, did you know that he had just been in an absolute classic?
Yeah, for sure, and my face felt like I was in a classic with elbows. I knew it was a classic, and I'm going to be 100% straight. You know, I thought being in Dublin, and he was being the fan favourite, and so I thought he tipped the decision. I thought they were giving it to him, but like under the new scoring ruling system, whatever, like I won that fight. Like I was actively trying to finish the fight. You know, he definitely won the third. You know. But again, I went for a sub in round 3. You know, I was always actively trying to finish, and it's a very interesting fight to score. I think they favoured control maybe a bit too. I don't know. It's very hard to say. What would your guys' opinion be on how to score a fight?
Well, the way with the new rules and all that, the way I looked at the first round with what we seen, obviously, Richie was getting the takedowns, was landing good shots, and I thought what Richie was doing well was he was mixing up a takedown, landing some combinations and going back looking, hunting for the takedown. But realistically, at the end of the first round, you could argue that Richie was saved by the bell. You were, I would say, literally seconds. If there was 8 more seconds on the clock, I think the referee was stepping in and waving that off. So potentially you could say that's a 10-8 round because the finish was almost there.
To go even further, I was talking to, I'm not gonna name drop, but I was talking to referees that said like it certainly should have been stopped. And again, I'm not using this as like a ammo like I won or anything like this. I'm just stating what people are saying. But yeah, I think I know.
But at the same time, Rhys, you have to give credit to Richie for that. Richie, he did stay in there. At the end of the day, it's the referee's job to step in when he thinks the fighter. And Richie was there. He stepped up off a stool to come out for the second round. So credit has to go out to Richie Smullen in that sense as well. But when you're stood there, you said you were thinking about the Dublin crowd. You're in Dublin. Richie's the Dublin guy. You were expecting to hear your winner be split or whatever, Richie Smullen. When you heard draw, what's that feeling like as a fighter when you hear? Because the two of you looked at one another straight away and so I went, yeah. But what's the feeling?
I was literally just like, we'll take that. I just said, we'll take that. You know, I was like, at the time I said, flip, I didn't think it was going that way. I didn't think it was going that way or something like that. You know, and then I remember him saying, we'll do it in September. And at the time I had a few wee niggly injuries. I wasn't too sure how they would heal, and I said, look,
I'll probably not be fighting in November, but that's changed. My mind's totally changed in that. I will be fighting in September, so that's kind of walking through my head straight away. Was very much a case of flip. I'll take that, but whatever.
Because
I was just happy to be in there. You know, Friday night was my best feeling ever in the cage, and I was just ecstatic to be there. You see me smiling the whole way through the fight. I was talking to Paddy Houlihan at a stage. You know, I was having an absolute ball.
It was one thing that after your last victory where you won the belt, when the talk of the Belfast card, you were on with us and you were saying, I won't be fighting in Belfast, I have a few injuries, and we obviously know that changed then, and you fought in Belfast. Is that something that maybe could come into your mindset this time? You did save a couple of injuries, or was that, as you said, just at the heat of the moment you felt, no, I'll take time? Do you think that may be something that you should think about a little bit more?
No, you know, I went in that 10 fight with no injuries bar sickness, you know, so listen, after a fight, you've just done a 9-week training camp, whatever, you're banged up, you're just out of a 5-minute fight. The last thing you want to do is think about fighting. But like when the adrenaline wears off and you realise, like, I had an absolute ball of a time, like, no, I want to fight again. And you know, what I have learned from that Tim fight is if I am too injured or I am sick before the fight, then I'll not be stepping in the cage, you know. But if I put it this way, if I sign that fight, you best believe I'm coming prepared and I'm coming in the best of my ability. And if I'm anything less than that, I'll not be there. That's a fact.
The last time we spoke to you as well on the show, you were sat in the dorms in TriStar. How did you find that helped your preparation? Did it just bring it to the next level?
Yeah, mental preparation was phenomenal. You know, like I just became such a confident fighter and learned just to enjoy the process. Like, don't be thinking, oh, there's only 4 days to the fight, there's 5 days to the fight. Just enjoy it. Like, take one day as it is. Even the weight cut process, enjoy it. Like, you know, I think I got very deep with Jonathan Brookins at times, and I think he's brought out a bit of my hippie side, to be honest. Like, so he has, you know. And but what an amazing experience, and you know, having the confidence to hang in the mats in TriStar made me like, I knew in that fight with Richie I'd be confident in all areas of the fight. I wasn't worried about the grind. I embraced the grind, you know.
Is the Richie Smullen rematch, run it back, is that the fight you want? It's a double barrel question I'm going to ask you. Contract with BAMMA, do you still have fights on it, or are you open to looking around to other promotions?
I have one fight left on my BAMMA contract. I want to fight either Richie or Tim in September in London. I don't know what will happen after that, you know. But I definitely want to fight in September. I feel it has to be Richie or Tim. That's my stance on it, really. I'm ready to go, and I'll win the next fight.
Well, I tell you, Rhys, I've watched the fight, I bound the hat to both you and Richie. He's put on an absolute classic. We can't wait till it's actually available to watch in full. And again, as much as we're disappointed, because we're, you know, just sitting at home watching the fights, it must be for you, again, as you said, that has to be so frustrating for it to be built that way. They sort of pulled the rug underneath you, and I think they should be bound at both you and Richie's feet in an apologetic way to push it and get you. If it is you against Richie in September, or if it is you against him, I can't wait to watch it. You know I love watching you fight, my man, and you're always welcome and you always come on. You're an absolute gent, and thanks a million for coming on to Obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Thank you very much. And just before I go on to say, like, anything I've said in this interview, I'm not taking away from Richie. You know, Richie hung in there with me for the full 15, so I have nothing but the utmost respect for Richie as an opponent, and I'd be absolutely honoured to do it again. But, you know, I just felt, I'm just saying my true feelings are reflected in the fight, and I think I won and clinched it, whatever. But, you know, hats off, and I appreciate you staying in there and giving as good as you got. So, but anyway, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, man.
Reece.
Enjoy your evening.
Enjoy.
See you in London.
Take care, pal. See you in London, buddy. There you are, the man himself. He was an absolute classic, and you know, it's weird that we were saying that to another Rob about, you know, I can't believe they took it off. You didn't really think about it from Rhys and Richie's point of view. That, you know what I mean? Them names on their t-shirts aren't just there for designer
Exactly, they
reasons.
have a vested interest.
They're people that have helped both Richie and Rhys in preparation by sponsorship, be it.
But even like friends and stuff. Like imagine if like say I was fighting. Imagine that'd be mad.
Yeah.
And like all
Imagine
my
if I was fighting.
and then like all my family like, oh, we'll come down. Oh, no, it's grand. You don't have to make the trip down. I'm gonna be on this at this time. And then it's like so disappointing for everybody else. So,
but whoever came up with that, well, you know, BAMMA or BAMMA, the promotion, they can do what they want.
Exactly.
But whoever came up with that idea, it's like Louis van Gaal at Man United had this thing. If you miss a penalty, you go back to the back of the queue. You don't get another shot till other guys miss the penalty. So this idea, guy, you're back of the queue. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't take Richie Smullen and Rhys McKee off live broadcast. Insane. And Corte.
Yeah, what?
I don't know. I just think it's weird that this sounds like we're digging at BAMMA. We're not digging at BAMMA. Bellator do it as well. Fantastic. BAMMA 30 was a phenomenal show. Yeah. Phenomenal show.
We would have been there if it wasn't for
somebody's jet lag. But Bellator do it too. This day and age, you can't do a tape delay.
No, it's live sports.
How did I talk to you about that Rhys McKee Richie Smullen fight?
Because P.T. Carroll was live tweeting.
P.T. Carroll live tweeting. P.T. Carroll was my John Motson. Yeah. That's what I tweeted P.T. saying, this is like the olden days of checking football scores and teletext.
Like teletext, yeah.
That's what. And so PT was my John Motson. And actually, speaking of PT, congratulations.
Yeah,
he's moving to our sister podcast site.
Yeah,
PT.
He tried to get on here.
Yeah, he's PT. Congratulations, huge job. Delighted for you, my man. He's moving to MMAfighting.com. A lot more people are going to see PT's work, and that should be the way it is because his work is absolutely phenomenal. He's a great writer. He's a great lover of the sport. He's passionate about the sport, and he really helps push from the amateurs to the pros here. So
and
delighted
kept us
for
up to date with live fights.
And he's John Motson on Twitter for BAMMA 30.
What we'll do is we'll get Daniel Movahedi on. We're going to talk a little bit more about BAMMA.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about BAMMA. So Movahedi, it's a nice. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and we are now in referee's corner with Daniel Movahedi. You'll see his beautiful face up the top right screen of the screen behind you. But Dan, we're going to have you on this week to talk about BAMMA 30's main event, which was between Shay Walsh and Alan Philpott for the bantamweight world title. It ended in controversy after a very dominant opening 3 minutes for Alan Philpott. So we're going to play it, Dan, and then we're going to get you to chat about it. So if you're not watching it on YouTube, watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. And give play-by-play.
Yeah. Play-by-play, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. So Alan Philpott, as we said, has had a dominant round. He had hurt Shay Walsh on a few occasions. He dropped him once or twice. And just here he drops Shay again.
He's wobbly.
Takes him with a leg kick. Boom. And then as Shay is getting up to he's the grounded opponent, and as he's getting back to his feet, Alan, fighter's instinct, does like a front teep kick and catches Shay in the face as he's a grounded opponent. So at the moment here, your referee Leon Roberts has Shay Walsh up against the cage, talking to him, calling in the doctor. Shay Walsh is pointing at his teeth and his jaw. And basically what happens here is the doctor comes in. The fight gets called because Shay Walsh has a broken jaw. Now, the thing about it was, the controversy after all this was it the illegal kick that broke the jaw? Some people tried to say Shay Walsh took the easy way out. The man had a broken jaw, people. But was it the illegal kick from Alan that caused the broken jaw? That's the thing that has been debated back and forth.
And how'd you deal with that illegal kick?
Exactly. So this is why we have Daniel Movahedi.
Yeah, I know.
One of the best in the business, the gentleman. So Dan, the fight was ruled, a couple of things, right? Number one, the kick, we can talk about that. But number two, the fight was ruled a no contest when everybody thought it was going to be ruled a DQ for an intentional illegal blow. So just talk us through it, what Leon Roberts had done, and then the reason for the decision, please.
Okay, well, first things first, I think one of the best in the business is Leon Roberts, and I thought he handled that situation bang on point. You know, cool time, got the doctor in, and like you said, Shay Walsh, it turned out that Shay Walsh had broken his jaw and he couldn't continue. Mm-hmm. Now, the first things first, I don't think that it was due to that kick that his jaw had broken. Anyway, I thought it was from that first head kick, which was shin to chin.
That was the general consensus.
But regardless of that, here's the thing, right? And I spoke to Leon about this as well. Because I had people cater go, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a no contest or DQ? First things first, I'm not the referee in there, and it's by the referee's discretion if he thinks it was intentional or unintentional. You know, just like you saw a couple of weeks ago when I had at Celtic Gladiators, I had Sean Lomas and Alex Montagani. Quite a similar situation, hit the soccer kick. So in this case, he hit the soccer kick, and it was as he was getting up. I don't think there was any malice in it from Philpott's side of stuff. I don't think he threw the kick, and yes, it was illegal, but I don't know if it was just a reaction. Like you said, rather than a soccer kick, looked like a teep kick. Yeah. You know? And whether he thought as he was getting up, he was going to teep his chest or his body back down again, I don't know. But unfortunately, caught in the mouth. Referee Leon Roberts didn't see it as a intentional malice strike. So he saw that as a no contest, okay? So, I mean, from what I've been seeing on social media, you know, I think Philpott said, Shay Walsh wanted out. He used it as an excuse. And other people are going, well, it should have been a DQ. Well, I'm going to put it as bluntly as possible. If you're Alan Philpott and you're his fans, the best scenario right now is a no contest anyway, because a DQ to Alan Philpott would mean he'll lose the match, so he'll have a O on his record, and Shay Walsh would win. And regardless if it was a DQ or a no contest, or if he couldn't ask for a way out, his jaw was broken. The doctor said that he cannot continue. If he could continue, if it was just it's my eye, and the doctor, he would have given his time for him to recover. The doctor would have checked him out, used up to his 5 minutes if he needed to do so. And if Shay Walsh was ready to continue, then it would have been up to Leon Roberts whether he wanted to deduct the points and let the fight to continue. And even if Shay Walsh did use that, regardless of the draw, did use that and said, look, I can't continue, as a way out, if that's how people want to put it, he is well within his rights to do so. At the end of the day, it was an illegal manoeuvre that happened, whether it was intentional or unintentional, that caused that situation. So Shay Walsh, if he didn't have the broken jaw, I keep saying to people, if he wanted to go, look, I can't continue and I don't want to, I'm not feeling right after that kick, well within his rights to do so. And I heard, you hear the cornermen and you hear the fans going, pussy, he wanted out, he wanted this. Look, at the end of the day, Gage is walking around with a broken jaw. You have to have surgery that night, Exactly. So it's a tough one, but I thought the decision was bang on. At the end of the day, if Leon thought it was unintentional, then obviously it's a no contest.
So, to summarise it, basically...
Sorry.
Your points are perfect.
But
just to break it down in that short bullet point, essentially, it's the referee's call if he believes this was intentional, or it's the referee's call if he felt it was deliberate or accidental or just a reflex.
Yes.
So it's 100%. There's not like a black and white, if you do this illegal strike, you're disqualified. Yeah. It's up to the referee if it intended or not.
Yes. Yeah, and as you could see, Shay was getting up to his feet. It's different if Shay was on his all fours and Alan ran up or pulled the leg back and boom, soccer kicked him straight in the head. You could tell him, if you're watching that, any person who knows the fight game, he was getting up and it did look like a teep kick. And it caught him, I wouldn't say hard, but it did catch him,
well, I wouldn't fancy that kick in the face. I
wouldn't like. No, but then you think. I did. Again, could be doctor's assessment. I'm not a doctor, but let's just say that he had that broken jaw prior to that. Yeah. Imagine just touching that jaw afterwards, whether it's just with a hand or pressure, let alone just getting a teep kick to the face. That is gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
But my point about this is that, let's say, right, Leon Roberts, and I agree with you, Leon Roberts is one of the top referees in the world. If that's Herb Dean, I'm just using Herb as an example. I'm not saying Herb Dean would do that, or Mario Yamasaki. Any of them guys, if they thought, no, that was intentional, technically Alan Philpott could have lost that belt.
Correctly. It could have been DQ'd,
yeah.
But then, let me give you another scenario as well. So say this happened in the third round.
Yeah. They got the scorecards.
And Shay Walsh and Leon Roberts didn't see it as an intentional, so it becomes then he didn't think it done intentional. We'll go on to the scorecards because we've done 2 completed rounds.
Excellent. And furthermore on this, go and check Dan's video with us on the Lomas fight, because that's quite similar, but the fight continued. So it's another way of what could have happened.
The sad thing about this was, that was an incredibly looking Alan Philpott. He's over training with Daz Morris over in the UK as well, with the likes of Dean Garnett and them killers. And Alan Philpott looked like a absolute killer. That is, I remember saying to Alan after he fought Duquesnoy, I said, that's just going to bring you to the next level. And I'm not saying it's Tom Duquesnoy. It's obviously the likes of Rodney Moore in Next Gen. Daz Morris over in the UK, in Liverpool and stuff like that. It's Liverpool, Manchester, it's one of them, isn't it? I can't remember. But Alan, that was the best version I've seen of Alan Philpott. He looked absolutely phenomenal. It was
the best 3 minutes I've seen of Alan.
He was. Let's be honest. Like Shay Walsh has been in many fights. He's an absolute veteran of the game. He's known for his heart and his endurance, and in a way, he can take an L slap. You know what I mean? He's known for having a good chin and being able to be involved. But it looked like Alan Philpott was like a couple of shots away from the victory, and if that was like half a second later, the kick, Walsh wouldn't have been a grounded opponent, and it's a fight-winning finish. So it's literally measurements. But Alan Philpott looked absolutely incredible. Shay Walsh, we wish you a fast and steady and speedy recovery, because I'd love to see that run back. I have a feeling though Philpott will fight in September in London, and Shay Walsh isn't going to be ready for that. So it is unfortunate. But Dan, BAMMA 30, one hell of a card. There was a silly thing, Dan. You sent it to me. I don't want to give it too much. I just want to address it. An article wrote about, I think it was the Richard Kiley fight and Daniel Onjak fight, where they said, man continues to beat fighter on the floor. This is barbaric or stuff. Why are they still writing this shit?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the writer. I don't know who wrote it. Someone sent it to me and said, this is what's making our sport look bad. Yes. Because I think the words barbaric or I think brutal was used, you know. Yeah. And someone said, it makes the referee sound so-and-so. And I know Daniel Movahedi would have. No, it didn't actually make the referee sound. It didn't make me sound bad. It actually made the sport sound bad. Yeah. You know? And that's what kind of pissed me off. I was like, look, man, again, I'm the referee in there. I know what's what. And, you know, credit to both fighters, you know, because I think the whole thing was when they had their little beef at the weigh-ins. I think they just wanted to carry on this story from afterwards as well. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been surprised if the headline would have been Richard knocks out his opponent till death, I don't know, or unconscious, or nearly to death. Something crap like that, you know? Yeah. But you only just got to look at the title of the newspaper and it says it all. Yeah, that red rag. But it was great. Hashtag clickbait. It was a great performance by Richard Kiley. He was patient, used his range and set it up, and it was a beautiful finish. And for anyone who watches referee MMA, it was a good stoppage by you, Dan. It was perfectly timed. I just want to pick out a couple of highlights of the card and of the night. Just to add on there, I did get a cheeky little elbow.
I've seen that, yeah. I tell you, Richard Kiley's going to be knocking on your door.
I hope not.
That was a dirty elbow, you scumbag. Speaking of elbows, Kiefer Crosby. Woo, wow. That's 2 fights in a row. I was actually quite surprised that Chris didn't allude to that in his commentary. Kiefer in his last fight was landing vicious elbows from the bottom that allowed him to set up the triangle. And these elbows, Kishi was going in deep for the takedown, working for the takedown, and Crosby just punished him for every bit of it. Beautiful finish by Kiefer Crosby, and Kiefer Crosby is a serious hot prospect.
He's
another one.
He's such improvements every fight, isn't he?
He looked fantastic.
He looked unbelievable.
Absolutely fantastic.
Phenomenal performance.
Unfortunately, Ballybrackman, someone I know very well, Ben Forsyth, was in the end of a triangle choke. It was like an inverted triangle choke. He was put asleep by Matt Klemper. Oh my God, them suplex cities. Holy shit. Yeah. He was.
You know, credit to both. You know, I've got to say this about Ben as well. He can't, you know, I've read something that he put up today. Yeah. You know, both of the guys, they left it all in there. I mean, they look gassed. You know, everyone's going, look, there's no technique there. But sometimes some of them fights is what makes the fights interesting, you know? You know, with the whole suplex, with the wild swings, with the big kicks. And you just don't know where it's going to go, you know? It's just the utter strength of squeezing them legs, you know? And unfortunately, it did put him to sleep. I thought it was a good fight, and I see him.
It was a lovely submission. Like, it was a nice submission. He even said, and himself said he didn't think it was tight. and next minute Ben was out. Like, but yeah, look, Ben, I read that post as well. He said he'll be back, don't doubt me. And that's the attitude to have. He's only a young fighter as well. Other standouts on the card for me he was a standout the last time I seen him fight. Cage Warriors, and he was a standout the last time I seen him fight in BAMMA, and he was a standout at BAMMA 30 as well, was Blaine O'Driscoll. This guy again, I always say it sounds like it's running low. When these young guys go away and step into the cage octagon the next time, they just look like fucking a new, better version of themselves. And Blaine O'Driscoll, he is evolving
making strides, man,
into an absolute
he's
killer.
Creditable to his opponent. I'd never heard of his opponent before, but a highlight had to be for me. I don't know if you guys managed to see it, and this is credit to Jason Fielding, the hand wrap guy and the cutsman. Poor Harry was like, I haven't got a banner. And apparently he got a towel, got his Sharpie pen out, and obviously wrote his cornerman's name, his gym name and his own name, hashtag, where's he from? Not Bristol, Middlesbrough. You know, I don't know if you saw that on TV. That was his banner, a towel and written with a Sharpie pen.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's great.
Friend of the show and former guest of the show, Aaron McGuire, short notice fight, replaced another friend of the show, Dublin's own, the California Kid, Carlo Kid. He's got more nicknames, I swear to God.
The Carlo-fornian Kid, wasn't it?
That's right.
Carlo-fornian
Anymore,
Kid.
Unfortunately, couldn't compete. So Aaron McGuire on short-ish notice took on Dylan Logan and got the victory there. Other big standouts of the night. Oh my God, this guy was so impressive. Was Ion Pascu. Holy
Knew what you were gonna say.
God,
that guy is terrifying.
Oh, and like Henry Felipe is known as a knockout artist as well. His record might show you. He was a former EFC champion, but my God, Henry was reaching for an ankle and did Pascu punish him. Holy,
he's terrifying, that guy.
Holy, holy. It was like
I'm gonna intervene. For me, one of the exciting fights that kept me on my toes was the Ryan Curtis fight. Versus Daniel.
Yeah, man.
And that fight, honestly, I had to be on my toes, moving around. It had it all. It had one of them nearly getting knocked out, the other one nearly getting subbed out. It was just like, back and forth the whole time. It was very enjoyable to referee. So for me, regardless of obviously Ryan not being the champion and losing his belt, and Daniel winning it, I would like to see a third one there. Definitely. A second fight.
Perez come in pretty short notice, wasn't it? Perez coming in, and he was very, very impressive. Like, we're big fans of Ryan here, and we're going to try to get him in. But you got to give it to Perez. Put on a serious performance. Excellent kickboxer. Ryan dropped him in the second, I believe. But that was a great fight. Like that came after the Rhys and Richie fight. Now we weren't there, so we got them in different order. But two great fights in a row. We just spoke to Rhys, but two great fights in a row to have on the card. But like Ryan be back, and Perez, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in BAMMA. If he's the champion now, so I'm sure he'll stay there. But very, very impressive.
Big victory as well for Paul Redmond as well. The Team Rhino man, after coming off that majority loss to Norman Park, he was taking on Rob Sinclair, former BAMMA champion. I'm correct, never lost in BAMMA. And
best we've seen Paul Redmond.
Paul Redmond looked great, and Paul Redmond does what Paul Redmond does. He got the knee bar. It was a knee bar, wasn't it? Knee bar. Rob Sinclair has suffered with his knees previously, so when he knew that was locked in and Reza sunk it in, he was like, I'm tapping, get me out of here.
And also Fabian Edwards runs in the family. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That guy's impressive. Yeah.
So that was your BAMMA 30. It was a standout night. Unfortunately, we weren't there in attendance due to me being absolutely shattered and working off less than 2 hours sleep in 48 hours. So unfortunately,
you were still stroking the dolphin. It's all right.
I was still petting that beautiful little dolphin.
That sounds like an innuendo.
No, Echo. What a dolphin. His name was Echo and Flex
Dolphin.
with the two dolphins.
Very nice.
Magnificent. But BAMMA 30 was something. Decky Dalton back in winning ways as well. That's a big shout out.
Decky,
with the scariest Decky's gonna get ya. Beating the very good fighter in Mick Brennan. But a great card. Dan, you are great as always. I'm watching it and I'm sitting there going, there's Dan.
Yeah.
There's Dan. There's Dan. And when are you on duty again, Dan? What's up next for you? The busiest man in
I've got a couple
sports.
of boxing events down my side, and then I'm off on my summer holidays, which is nice. I'm looking forward to. Then start September with a bang. So I'm looking forward to it.
London. Big one.
And I believe I'm back with you guys in November.
Yeah. Is it Dublin or is it Belfast? It's Dublin, is it?
Dublin.
They're coming back 3 Arena with James Gallagher. Bellator BAMMA.
Ooh, that's a big one. That is a big one.
Beautiful card. And
We'll
Dan,
be there.
Dan, it's a beautiful card. You're a beautiful man. And thanks for coming on the show, Dan.
Peace. Glad I could be of help.
Cheers, Dan.
Love you.
See you later.
See you later, mate. Take care.
Bye.
We won't do. Will we go through a little bit of quick fire news, or will we just?
No, we won't.
No, we won't. I want to finish.
You wanna
With,
finish with
I want to finish with talking about.
Make me jealous.
I'm very lucky that I get to MC and get to see so many great shows and great fights, and I was truly gifted one of these things. Being a great show on Saturday evening in City West to Capital One. Martin Horgan, if you don't know who Martin Horgan is, you don't know Muay Thai. Martin Horgan runs Siam Warriors down in Cork, but he also happens to be one of the best promoters in this country. He's always putting Muay Thai on the forefront, and he's certainly done that on Saturday night in the City West with Capital One. A couple of fights stand out. The biggest standout fight for me on the night was Stephen Movahedi was taking on Craig Coakley. This was billed as the biggest fight of two Irish fighters, at the prime. And
biggest domestic.
Yeah, and Craig Coakley, Rob, I took a picture of Craig in the corner with Collie and Lee and all as I was sitting there, and I took the picture because as I was watching that, I was like, I'm watching greatness. And you ever watch a fight, like when you were watching Conor at a younger age, or John Jones, or any fighter that springs to mind for you, and when you're seeing them early before, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of hype and a lot of people talking about Craig Coakley over here.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there watching this going, fuck me. Like, his shot selection, his calmness, like, he's fighting Stephen Movahedi, who's like an unbelievable fighter, and the toughness and the heart of Stephen Movahedi in this fight was, he kept coming at Craig trying to land, just couldn't. Craig, when he leans back to teep somebody, I mentioned it earlier talking to Brendan Dorman, he's like Dal Sim.
Yeah,
he just turns into like Stretch Armstrong. But he's landing these shots, and what's incredible about watching, and I was very lucky where I was sitting on Saturday, was I was sat right beside the Lionheart corner, and I could hear Collie blasting out the instructions to Craig. And every time Collie said an instruction, it was either in that technique or the next technique employed. Yeah. But the only way I can explain it is when I watched Craig the other night, I was watching greatness. Yeah. Now, we've had Craig on a couple of times on the show. I chat with Craig regularly when we're at shows and all the Lionheart lads. And if it's unfair to say this was his coming out party in a way to show how good he was, but this, we said it when we had Craig on the show here. We spoke about go and see Craig, because this might be the last time you'll see Craig fighting in Dublin, because he's probably going to have to go
take our advice,
and probably go further afield to get the bigger fights. Now, Martin, in an interview with Fight Star after, was saying he's going to speak to Craig and his team, because he wants to help him and push him and get him to the next level. And I hope what Martin's doing there is he's going to bring the talent to fight Craig here in Dublin. But like, Craig Coakley was outstanding. There's a C. Gordon got a snap of Craig
the head kick,
landing a head kick.
Oh, I seen that.
And I'm looking at it, when I seen that live, I was sitting, it was Tony Brennan, it was timekeeper, and I turned to and I says, how the fuck is Movahedi still standing? Yeah. I'm like, how did he take that shot and is still standing? And it was a performance of pure technique, skill, shot selection, but destruction. He was carving up Movahedi in the fight, and the fight eventually ended. Movahedi didn't come out for the fifth round, and I think it was rightfully so. I think he proved so much in staying in there for the 4 rounds. The referee had the doctors looking at it every time, and the one thing that stood out for me, I was saying Daz Morris, it was with Phil Morris. Daz Morris was the referee for this fight, and I sometimes when I get into the ring and you're getting the decisions, or I didn't need to get the decision, I just needed to call TKO on this occasion. But when I got in, Daz Morris went, that kid is fucking unbelievable.
That's crazy.
So when Daz Morris is saying that to you, you can, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that was unbelievable. It sort of justifies me saying, oh my God, oh, that must be really true. That was unbelievable. But Craig Coakley, oh my God, I said it. I put it on Facebook on, I've just witnessed greatness. I meant every word of that, and it's truly been to call him from the little Craig Coakley, little skinny, scrawny guy, to, you know, this unbelievable world-class fighter, and that is genuinely what I think he is a world-class fighter.
I can't wait to watch that fight.
Oh my God.
That's on somewhere online.
Fight Star will have it up. I don't know if it's up yet, but Fight Star will have it. Get on it.
Get on it.
It's unbelievable. The main event, as Martin Horgan always tells me, I don't do main events. Every fight's the main event. But Onion Topic taking on Paul Barber was two, again, world-class fighters showing world-class. I was watching it going, I don't know how to score this fight. Who's winning this fight? Because Barber was putting all the pressure, but Topic was landing the bigger scores, if you know what I mean. He was standing the big scores, the big takedowns, landing beautiful sweeps, taking them back. This was incredible. It was an incredible close fight. Topic got the nod and became the Muay Thai Grand Prix world champion. Phenomenal fight, and to watch two world-class athletes in Dublin again was absolutely phenomenal to have it. Aaron Boom Boom Brown was next, defending his ISKA title against Scotty John. This was Aaron, if I'm being honest, in the first round, it's something I've never really seen Aaron do. Aaron started slow.
Did he?
I would have gave the first round to Scotty John, but Aaron started slow. He certainly didn't fucking finish slow. For 4 rounds, he does what Aaron Brown does. Closing distance, landing shots, constantly putting pressure on Scotty John. Scotty John fought really well. It was a really competitive fight. But Aaron Brown, I always say, he's like a Duracell bunny. He just has this next cardio energy, but as well, it's mixed with brute strength, beautiful clinch work, landing constantly knees, landing good kicks. It was a great performance by Aaron Brown. Like I said, defends the belt. I'm dying to see who he'll face next. Stunning fight again. Jumping out next to me was Shane McConnell again. Sugar Shane McConnell. Waterford Thai. Stunning performance by him. Gets the TKO. 3 knockdowns in the first round. And again, he's somebody that you'd put like the talent pool in this country, Rob, is just in Muay Thai is just absolutely phenomenal. He got the win, but he done it with style points against an international opponent. He fights out of bad company, but he comes from France. Stunning victory. Another friend of the show, Dylan Big Red Mar, got the victory over Jay Doyle in the second round, I think it was. Nice. It was under, I think it's infusion rules. Right. So if you're active in the clinch, you can land these, but you can't like stop.
Yeah.
So we got the job done.
1 or 2
in the
knees,
clinch.
and then you have to break. Yeah.
So I was delighted for Big Red, and fair play to Jay Doyle. A lot of people aren't taking the fight with Dylan at the moment. Jay Doyle took it, so credit where it is there. And Jay Doyle started really well. He was landing some big shots, fighting out of championship. I think I'm not too sure. I'm gonna say it, but there could be his first fight out of championships, which is Mark Castley's gym. Could be his first fight representing them. But Jay looked good. He was landing really good shots. He was being aggressive. He was being forward. But Dylan got the nod. The fights are trying to run through my head here, trying to remember. Seriously, you can only give credit to Martin Horgan. Like we're lucky in this country that we have great promoters like Lara Bourne. We're putting on the shows Lara has. Lara and Martin work together on occasions. So you've Lara Bourne putting on amazing toy shows. You've Martin Horgan. This show was phenomenal. The people in attendance will tell you. Watch the videos.
One thing that you always say is when you go down to Cork, it's like a bit of Thailand.
Thailand.
Did it feel like that?
Atmosphere was phenomenal at this one. The atmosphere was phenomenal. The Neptune has its own special unique thing. But what I loved about this, that it was built, it was a separate. It wasn't a super show. It was Capital One, if you know what I mean. He's building its own idea, and the layout. When I first went in and I seen the layout, I thought the ring was weird because the ring was down this end and all the seats were this side, but he had a walkout and the lights and everything, and it just made it. It was a night of entertainment. It was a night of stunning fights. I think there's 22 fights on the card. And I remember sitting with Tony. I said, sometimes, you know when you come to a show, I was talking to you earlier saying you watch a fight and you score a fight. This show, I was sat on the edge of my seat watching all the fights. Like from the young amateurs coming up to the big pros like Topic and Brown and Movahedi and Coakley. everyone came to fight, and it's like it just has that special atmosphere. And if you've not been to a Muay Thai show, go to them. Do you know what I mean? Like they're on your doorstep. They are there. You've the likes of Warrior. You've the likes of the Takeover. You've the likes of CRC holders. So you've Cage Legacy Kickboxing. Like these shows are there. There's unbelievable talent in this country, and it's like thanks to the likes of your King Cowley's a promoter, your Lar Bourne is a promoter, your Declan Ken is, your Martin Horgan's are putting on these shows. But Martin Horgan for Saturday night, take a fucking bow. He's bringing these world class fighters on your stage to showcase their skill in front of you, and it was just absolutely, it was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal card. I always put up a post about a show. And sometimes I find it hard to sort of, and I even said that, I said, how do I justify this card? Yeah. It was phenomenal from start to finish. Like it had everything. Like as in Tommy McCormick, who was on with us last week, and Noel. The lads had a busy night. You know what I mean? There was plenty of cuts to be had. But it's done a night, a great night, and anyone who was there absolutely loved it. And I can't wait for Capital. I don't know if it's going to be called Capital 1 or Capital 2.
Capital 1, 2.
Capital 1, 2. But looking forward to it, and like I said,
fights.
Was that announced? No, he hasn't. He's only talking about it.
It's going to be Dublin.
Yeah, Capital is going to be the Dublin show.
Deadly.
Yeah. I thought it was weird a Cork man calling the Capital, though, you know, Cork man and Capital. And he had all the referees in blue uniforms. He's turning. We're getting them. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm actually just going on to Fight Star here to see any of the fights up. But if they're not up, go and check them out. They will be up soon. But
I'll check it out.
Fucking amazing night of fights. So to all the fighters, to all the team, fantastic show. Well done to everybody.
Take a bow.
Take an absolute bow. We're not going to run through all the quick-fire news. We're just going to say Gegard Mousasi is signed with Bellator, Rob.
Gegard Mousasi signed with Bellator. That's crazy. Like
insane.
Without going into loads of it, we've kind of said it. It's like Gegard Mousasi isn't the biggest star in the UFC, but it's all these people that the UFC would never let go a couple of years ago that built the roster. Like I say it all the time, something should be said about greatness. Gegard Mousasi is one of the best fighters in the world, and not having him in your roster when you're the best promotion in the world, that says something about your roster. It does. It really does. If you let a guy go, Rory McDonald the same. Similar thing.
Bellator middleweight division. It's deadly.
It's deadly. And then Rory McDonald said he might go up as well from welterweight.
Yeah.
Rory McDonald versus Gegard Mousasi.
We spoke about this months ago at this stage, saying Bellator are slowly clapping. I don't know. I have to say this one thing, right? One thing about UFC, the new owners, right?
They seem a little bit out of touch.
No, but why would you go into a promotion and essentially, you know, it is the leading promotion. A lot of people think the UFC is the sport, but why would you go into a brand that works so well and go, let's change loads of things?
Yeah.
Did they never hear don't fix it unless it's broke?
I think they got a little bit unlucky. I think when you look at what the UFC, like Lorenzo Fertitta sold at the perfect time. Conor McGregor was fighting, making tons of money. Ronda Rousey was fighting and winning, making tons of money. The new ownership came in. Rousey lost. Conor lost, came back, had that huge fight, but he stopped fighting. He's not fighting anymore. The two biggest stars haven't fought, and now they're like, oh, we need big stars. So they don't really care about these guys who don't draw money. But again, we said it. Something to be said about greatness, and they've let greatness go. If that's fully confirmed, because I know it was a report and it's from really reliable sources, but I'm sure.
No, it's out. It's actually confirmed now. MMA Junkie have absolutely confirmed it. He's fine. Multi-fight deal. Confirmed. Another thing, I'm just going to run through things really quickly. You've Dana White's Tuesday night fights going on tonight. So check them out. They're going to be. Is it going to be every Tuesday?
Tuesday night contender, so I'd assume so.
Yeah, deadly. Happy now, but no, I mean, is it going to be every week or by week?
I don't know. I know. Probably like a series. Probably have like.
Yeah. But look, they're on tonight. See where we're reading them. It is tonight because the show's released today. Yeah. Also, one other quick thing. Tog Grisham. Or sorry, Tude Grisham, man.
Sakuraba.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But I put up the tweet.
They threw me under the bus.
Yeah, fucking right, they threw you under the bus. You were telling, I like him.
I said he was fine.
Terrible.
I said he was fine, but he was absolutely atrocious.
The way he's real degrading the fighters, how he speaks about them, and just the shit he says.
Yeah, he says some fucking silly stuff. He said some silly stuff. I don't know.
He referenced debt.
Yeah, he did.
You said something that you just didn't think the chemistry was right.
No,
with
the
him and
chemistry
Brian
is
Stann.
wrong. I don't think, like, if you put Brian Stann and John Anik in the booth together, when they're talking and they're interacting, you could say they could probably be friends. And that's a weird thing to say, but like they have a certain chemistry, you know, they seem like they can speak to each other. Whereas Todd Grisham and Brian Stann, they say things and they kind of just like, they barely react to each other. And you need you need a bit of ebb and flow in your
In the
team,
MMA.
You know? In the MMA, yeah.
But
Poor performance. Hopefully he recovers, because I'm sure he has a couple more fights he needs to call.
like, I know, like, the weird thing is, like, I know I harp on about Mike Goldberg, but to let Mike Goldberg go and to be him replaced, it's just so weird.
And I think Grisham is a similar type of announcer to Mike Goldberg, but probably lesser. Do you know what I mean?
Don't like him. I don't like him. I've decided I don't like him. Yeah. My thing said though, do you like Grisham calling the action? Yes, he's wonderful. No, it's slowly killing me.
What would you vote for?
No, slowly killing me. Terrible. Shout out to Fight Store Ireland, the fighter's choice. Everything you need under the one roof. Be it groin guards, shin guards, the best of gear. They look after Conor McGregor. All his prep work. All the pictures you're seeing of Conor McGregor's gloves, all the boxing gear he's wearing.
About the same place that did.
Yep.
So technically that's Conor McGregor's t-shirt.
Yeah. Fight Store Ireland. Check them out. Tell them the lads from obviously Fight Talk sent you. MMAmix.com. They're obviously good. They're with obviously Fight Talk. And the new sponsor to the show, feelsupreme.co.uk. From everything you need, from your CBD oils to all the supplements and whole foods that you need. They look after world champions, amateurs, and average Joes just like me.
Check them out.
Rob's not as average as me. But yeah,
Slightly
when you
below.
check them out, don't forget to use the promotional code Fight Talk. That'll get you 10% off everything you order, people. 10% off. Spend loads. Because they'll know we sent you.
You know what I always do when I get a deal? I'm terrible for it. I'll go on and I'll be like, I'll say that's 50 quid.
Yeah.
And then it'll come down, that's a deal, and I'll go, now I have 20 quid to spend. I'll
Yeah,
just
I'll
get
buy
something
more.
else.
Yeah.
Fucking horrible.
Our deal was young ones. Oh, that's a lovely top. Pennies. Yeah, so a big thanks to James Doolan for coming on. Seems like an eternity ago we were talking to James. Brendan Dorman, as always, thank you very much. Rhys McKee coming on after that epic fight. Looking forward to seeing him fight again in London. No doubt we'll speak to him beforehand. The beautiful Daniel Movahedi. As always, I'm joined by my co-host and friend, Robert Palin. I'm Noel O'Keefe. It's been absolutely great to be back. I've missed you. I hope you've missed us too. Let's give one another a big fake hug. This has been 73, and we're out.